Katie, I'd like to just remind everyone that we must make a push for an immediate ceasefire. The bombing has to stop. Right now, we've seen bombing all night last night on Rafah with women, children, and these civilians who have absolutely no protection continue to be bombed. And this has to stop. We need to allow humanitarian aid into Rafah. And these people who are dying of starvation, food is being withheld, food and water is being withheld, and starvation is being used as a tool of genocide. And these are barbaric war crimes, and these have to stop. And I'm really concerned about the mass graves that were discovered this past week. With withdrawal of the Israeli forces from the Al Shifa and the Al Nasser hospital, 392 bodies were discovered in mass graves. These are bodies of women, children, elderly. They had evidence of torture. Some had been beheaded. And there's concern that 20 of these bodies had been buried alive. They've been stripped of their clothing. Their hands have been zip tied behind their back. So we need immediate international investigation into these war crimes. And we need to protect the war crime scenes so that appropriate forensic evidence can be obtained. So it's absolutely essential that we have international action on this situation.
I personally motivated with one principle. Humanitarian aid must be blind to race, color, ethnicity, and nationality. We have 133 Israeli hostages for the last 6 months. Women, children, elderly. No one knows anything about them. They are the same as the Palestinians. The numbers doesn't add up. I mean, they're small compared to what's going on. Those are hostages need to be immediately released, unconditional, not used as a token for negotiation.
The hostages should be released, and also the more than 2,000 Palestinian children and civilians who have been detained in Israeli jails, they also need to be released. There should be release of the hostages and release of the Palestinian children. There's more than 2,000 of them in Israeli jails right now. They need to be released.
I think if Israel really valued releasing hostages, they would have behaved very differently. I think that their priority is not getting hostages out.
I kind of a little bit disagree with you. So, I blame too Hamas. I mean, example, like, for the whole world community putting so much pressure on Israel not to enter Rafah. And here you are, you go attack Kerem Shalom, the only entrance that enter food and trucks to. Why would you attack it? Period. Why would you kill force, right? Sitting there. This is the only entry that food is coming from there. You attack it. You give again. As October 7th, you give the Israelis, they have to go in. That's why they went in. They went in and took over the crossing, and they took over the east part of Rafah. When Hamas did that, they gave an ammunition to the Israelis to attack Rafah. They were not allowed to attack Rafah because United States, Europe, everybody around that this is the red line.
The Palestinians have been oppressed for 75 years. They've been killed indiscriminately for 75 years. All loss of life is important. Even the 1,100 Israelis that died was horrible and unjustified, absolutely 100%. But the disproportionality of this, with over 200,000, people killed or injured, an entire civilization genocided, ethnic cleansing going on. I mean, and at this point in time, whatever Hamas may be, and it's not just Hamas, it's a collection of Palestinian organizations working together, right? Hamas is just been, I think the Western mainstream media has just blamed Hamas for everything. Hamas is in the hospital, let's attack it. Hamas is living in the schools, let's attack Hamas. Hamas is in the universities, let's attack universities. Hamas is in the playground, let's bomb the playground where there's 8 or 10 kids playing. Hamas is in all the ambulances, let's bomb all the ambulances. So it's very easy to use that and blame in this war situation where it's such a disproportionate scenario going on. There's a genocide going on, right? Nothing. Genocide is the worst crime of humanity. Nothing justifies a genocide. Nothing, right? So in this case, I mean, has been talking about going to Rafah for a long time. It's not a hidden secret. That was always in the plan. Two of the Israeli ministers from the extreme right-wing coalition said that they will come out of the coalition, dissolve his government if he does not go into Rafah. That was going to happen no matter what. An entire civilization has been destroyed. There's been humanitarian laws that have been violated. We have
And rules of war, also rules of war, right?
rules
Like
of war.
established rules of war.
Established rules of war. There's been Security Council resolutions that have been ignored for 75 years, but also now. There currently exists, there's war crimes being committed as we speak. This is accepted by multiple UN agencies. The UN has called this a genocide. The ICJ has ruled it a plausible genocide. There is so much evidence of journalists. 150 journalists have been killed. That's a war crime, right? Indiscriminate bombing. You and I have both seen it. So how do you say, well, because Hamas bombed this, that gave Israel all the justification to come into Rafah? They're going to come into Rafah anyways. They have destroyed their entire civilization. Like, it's gone. Like, it's flattened. There's a tiny bit of Rafah left, which is also going to be gone. And Hamas accepted the ceasefire deal.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was going to add. Yeah,
they accepted it, and they revealed the details of it, where all the hostages were going to be released. Right? Netanyahu said no, right, and moved into Rafah.
I'm not here to disagree with you, Yasser, because this is polarizing. As I said, first of all, I am completely agree with what happened with the crimes, and I've seen it firsthand. I've been twice there. I've been, as I said, the first time, and we're working on much, not just the treatment. We have several projects now. We're working on water distillation with the United States government. So we're working on different things. But you have a group that are drawing the line and saying, don't enter Rafah. And they're somehow being upheld. Why would you attack Kerem Shalom? That's why I'm not saying what I'm justifying what happened.
Why would you commit a genocide? Why would you commit a genocide?
Yasser, again, I'm not here to argue with you, my friend. I think you had an opportunity to say what he said. If you really want, and then immediately, this is your main entry, and if this is your pipeline, and if you attack it, it's gonna close all the aids that is coming. It is known. If you don't think it is, a little child, a 5-year-old would know, if you attack that port, that entry, you're gonna close all the aids that coming, and you're already below the 500 trucks, and this is the main entry. And so why would you attack it? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Israel is justified or what the killing or all this. I'm not disagreeing with you, but there's some intelligent thing. Is think about it. Is the whole world draw the line, a red line in Rafah? And yes, Netanyahu wants to enter, and these two people are wanted. And unlike what you say, yes, the far right government, Ben Gvir and Schwartz, they wanted to dissolve the government, but Yebed and Gantz have the center, and they offered Netanyahu that they will survive the government if these guys dissolve, and will not dissolve the government. So I completely understand what you say, but you also understand all the politics. It's a big picture, not a narrow picture. So why, again, answer me this question: why would you attack Kerem Shalom?
So Hamas's killing of 3 Israeli soldiers and attacking that justifies the thousands that have been killed and being killed right now. I mean, what's the number? I think it was like 25 or 30 per. Actually, it's over 100 per day that are dying right now. So that justifies, so 3 Israeli soldiers justifies killing thousands and forcing the evacuation of 200,000 people and invading the Rafah crossing. I don't understand.
To the Israelis, that's good. I mean, look at
this disproportionality is this is indiscriminate.
Yeah. I mean, I think that also, I just want to make the point that there was a hostage. They had agreed, like Hamas did agree to this. Israel could have accepted the offer and they chose not to. And then they invaded Rafah. And if they cared about their hostages, they would have accepted the deal. And the other point I would make is that we don't fund Hamas. So we can condemn Hamas all we want, but that's not the people that's not our partner, the people that we have an unshakable, when I say we, the West, like my president and Canada's president, right? So we have leverage with them that we're clearly not using.
Actually, Katie, they just held the ammunition to Israel. They not say just held for the first time, and they are investigating.
They had like a discussion about it, I believe. I
Yeah,
don't think they
yeah.
actually implemented the policy yet. And yeah, I think that there's like a lot of I think they're definitely putting that story out there in the media. But in general, I mean, we know that Israel could be stopped with the phone call. Like Biden could literally pick up the phone and it would end. And it would run out. We know that from Israelis who've said that. And Ronald Reagan did that when Israel was attacking Lebanon. He called up Ronald Reagan, the Republican, the Cold Warrior, called up Begin Menachem and said, "This is a Holocaust. Stop it." And then Ariel Sharon, who was like Israeli's defense minister, who was hardly a dove. They stopped.
I just wanted to say that one of the hallmarks of a genocide is the dehumanization of the victim population. And we see this in all levels of Israeli society, calling every Palestinian, there is nobody who is innocent there. And it's really, really sad to see that, because this is what enabled the Holocaust to happen, the dehumanization. We see this as a planned, systematic destruction of the Palestinian people. And if we look at how many bombs have been dropped on Gaza, 75,000 tons of bombs, 5 times what was dropped on Hiroshima. And that's more than what was dropped on any European city in World War II. And one of the important tenets of international humanitarian law is proportionality. 1,200 people are dying. This is a horrific crime. Then there should be an approximate similar number of people dying on the other side, not 45,000, not 15,780 children being killed. And children are given special care and precaution. As I explained, in World War II, the children were evacuated. And also Israel, as an occupying force, is obliged to protect the people and the land that is occupying. And there clearly has been no evidence of protection of the children and the women. We have seen pregnant women bulldozed over. We have seen children shot at close range, in the head, in the limbs. And this is inhumane. This is barbaric. We have seen the end of international humanitarian law that was also buried in Gaza. Gaza has become a graveyard, not only for children, but also for international humanitarian law. We are now back to the law of the jungle.
You mentioned all Israelis are against Palestinians. I want to caution from globally, like marginalized people. And actually, there are a lot of Israelis. They are sympathetic, and they want to help. And there are a lot of Israeli NGOs are helping. Example, one NGO that donated 40,000 tents to help. There's another NGO, Physician for
Human Rights,
Israel. They also want to help. There's another organization that are trying to put water distillation units in northern Gaza, and they got the approval from Kogat and the Israeli. So to stain all Israelis of that, I think let me say, Aliya, I think what we need to say here is facts. Stay with the facts. Yes, I understand all the numbers. I understand what you said. I understand there's quite a proportion of the Israelis.
I meant Israeli military.
right?
In all levels of Israeli military. That's what I meant to say.
When 9/11 happened, I don't want to downsize what happened. It was about 2,200 people died and everything. But we went full war, blown war with.
And that was bad. when we
with
did that.
Iraq and Afghanistan, and hundreds of thousands of people are killed. Where were your voice then?
I was
And then,
protesting.
and then
I was
I was in
protesting.
the street.
David.
and so
I
too.
I'm
was
sure
in the streets.
Dr. Aliya was against it too.
I
So
was in
is
the streets
United
protesting, David.
is United States going to consider United States genocide now for these? Are you going to call United States genocide for this?
Well, yes, there was a
Yeah,
genocide.
I'm
committed.
open to that. I'd have to
Yeah,
look at what
there's
the
a
human rights
genocide committed
organizations
by
have
the.
said, but I'm
And
sure
then
I'm
too.
certainly happy to criticize
That's
the
a
US as
ridiculous
much as
statement to
Israel.
make, honestly.
And so
I mean, to go back 20
to
years, ridiculous.
sticking
It's
to the
tone deaf.
facts.
It's insensitive. It's tone deaf. It's insensitive. But
I
Katie, I
think
will say
we're
one thing. Katie, please correct me if I'm wrong about the number. But there was a survey done about a month ago where over 70% of Israelis said,
Yeah, it's very
Israeli
high.
citizens said that not enough force has been used in Gaza. Over
Yeah, the
70%.
majority believe that it's either not enough or the right amount or not enough. I don't remember the numbers, but it's a very small minority who thinks that it's too high. And to be fair, like David, you said you don't want to paint all of Israel with a brush. There are Israelis who are in jail because they are not serving, and there are Israelis who are in jail because they literally said something empathetic towards Palestinians and they were thrown in jail. But I think it is a societal issue, and but what we can say is for sure that the government is in lockstep with this. Now there are
Sure.
people mad at Netanyahu because they don't care about Palestinians, but they think that he's not prioritizing the hostages, and I think that's an important thing to recognize, because these are not people who are leftists. These are not people who care about Palestinians. But to me, this is proof that Netanyahu is not prioritizing the hostages, because if you have people who are not peaceniks, people who don't care about Palestinians, but they're out on the street saying make a deal, that shows you that it's not about liking Palestinians. This is just Netanyahu not caring about the hostages.
We stand in solidarity with our Jewish brothers and sisters who have stepped forwards and really have come out and said this is wrong. And
Yeah.
these, our Jewish brothers and sisters who have said that, are
Like
the
me.
heroes of today. Just like the Germans who stood up and
Righteous
spoke
Gentiles.
out
Yeah.
to save the Jews from the Holocaust, the Jewish brothers and sisters today who are saying this is wrong, they are the heroes of today, and we stand in solidarity with them.
Well, I would say that you guys are the heroes. Seriously, you are the heroes, and I really appreciate your work. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I'd love to have you guys on again. And I feel like I learned so much from all of you, and you are really incredibly brave.
We are, as physicians and surgeons, we are trained to be humans, and we take care of the needy people. And it annoys me to see a letter coming from some of the Israeli physicians,
Oh, I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
like advising the government to attack the hospitals, which already has been happening. So why would a physician do that? Like if I have a patient who's under me, who's under anesthesia, I don't even ask where is he from, what color he is, what religion he is. So this is number one. Number two is whatever happened, whatever you see, but the hostages that were released, you would see their comments about how they were treated. And I don't know, by Hamas, by Tara al-Aqsa, by whatever resistance, it doesn't matter to me. This is something in the Islamic culture and the Islamic religion, that you have spread peace and spread good things for humanity in general. It doesn't matter the race or the color, and it's something embedded in our Islamic culture. And finally, for you, Katie, to know the reason you asked this initially, why would you go again? These people, they know their history very well. They have so much resilience. You cannot imagine. We can talk for hours and hours about the resilience that these kids have. They know their history very well. Makhalilati daughter was interviewed by a reporter, and she told her, why didn't you just leave? There is bombs everywhere, and there's rockets coming day and night. She told her, you know what? In 1948, they told us to leave. We took the keys to our houses. We thought we're coming back next morning, and it's been 75 years. One of the patients that David operated on, he had his fractured skull base fracture, blood coming out of the ET tube from the face and nose and mouth. And he came to David and he told him, whatever God wants, I'll be happy. I couldn't imagine this. They have so much resilience. they don't care. They will stay on this land. They will protect it. So this is what the world need to know: is there is facts and there's humanitarian things that we should all agree upon, regardless of our political background.